This is Chapter 7, Lesson 10, Problem Solving, Find Unknown Links. And the Common Core State Standard is to apply and extend previous understandings of multiplication and division to multiply and divide fractions. This lesson is going to be utilizing quite a few skills, and so there's one very important thing that I want to review before going any farther. That is length and width, and helping us to determine the area of a rectangle or square. The area is a two-dimensional figure because it considers both length and width. The length is usually referring to how long something is, such as 4 inches. And if for this example we're using 1 inch to represent each distance, then this is 1, 2, 3, 4 inches in length. Length is pretty much goes in only one direction. So the reason why an area is 2 dimensions is because it's going to go into 2 directions. It's going to go both up and down, as well as the width, left to right. If for this example, this is 3 inches, then now we have 1, 2, 3 going in this direction, inches, and 1, 2, 3, 4 inches going in that direction. The area is how many square inches, this being a square, this being a square, this being a square, this figure takes. And so this one you can count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so you'll find that if the area is 4 inches times 3 inches, then you'll get 12 inches squared. There's this little 2 here, and we'll say it like 12 inches squared because we've multiplied 2 different numbers to get that, and it's going in 2 directions. We can multiply 4 and 3 for 2 reasons. One is the 3 is being repeated 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you're repeating the number 3 4 times. Or if you look at the other way and you go this way, then you're repeating 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 times. So you can multiply the length and the width. It's important to note that although you can have an area of 12 inches squared, there are other ways to draw that same figure. For instance, if we have 2 inches here, and 6 inches here, oops, I did not split that one correctly. Oh well. This one won't be the most accurate. Actually, let's just draw an extra one here. So, if we had 2 inches by 6 inches, but pretend they were a little bit neater, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so this area for length times width would be 2 times 6. 2 is being repeated 6 times, or 6 being repeated 2 times, and you'll still get 12 inches squared. This concept to know that you could get 12 inches squared as an area in different ways, such as 4 by 3, 2 by 6, or even 12 by 1, is going to play a huge role as we play out on this lesson. Now, as we read through this, we're going to kind of break down these by creating a chart for it. Kamal's bedroom has an area of 120 square feet. So, if you were to multiply the length and the width of this unknown figure, the area, when you multiply the length by the width, will be 120 square feet. And then 120 square feet can be written as 120, and you put the FT, And the small 2 they're representing, that's a 2-dimensional figure. The width of the room, the width right here, is 5/6 the length of the room. So whatever the length is, the width is 5/6 of the length. So whatever the width right here is going to be whatever the length is, but 5/6 of that. What are the dimensions of Kamal's bedroom? Now the tricky part about here, they don't tell you the number for either the length or the width. They just give you the hint that the width is 5/6 of the length. So if you know what the length is, the width would be 5/6 of that. If you think about that statement, 5/6 of the length means that the width is going to be smaller. So whatever you know the length to be, 5/6 of the larger number, let's pretend this is the larger number, will equal the smaller number. And I'm using an L there, which probably isn't the best symbol to use since we already have L as the length. So I'm going to put B, and that's my number sign. So when you see that, 5/6 of whatever the bigger number is will equal the smaller number. And this pound sign or hashtag is a shortcut for number as well. So, since they didn't tell you the length and the width, you will have to start making educated guesses. So for instance, a possible answer could be 40 times 3, because 40 times 3 is 120. So 40 could possibly be the length because it's the larger number, and the width could possibly be 3 because 40 times 3 equals 120. I know that 40 times 3 equals 120 because 4 times 3 equals 12, and this extra placeholder, 0, is given by that 4 to 40. If I know that 4 times 3 is 12, I could add that extra placeholder 0 to make 120, because it's 40 times 3. Just like 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12, 40 plus 40 will be 80, plus 40 more would be 120. Other possible answers could include maybe 60 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12. 60 times 2 is 120. Just like 6 times 2 is 12. 60 times 2 is 120. And also 12 times 10 could be a possible answer. 12 times 1 is 12, and then you add the extra 0. Now, although these could possibly be the answers, and even more, if you really want to get technical, there could be a lot of possible answers. But what you're looking for is just one, the one that makes this true. What would be true if 5/6 of this number equals this number of the bigger number? I should square this. If 5/6 of this number equals this number, then that is the answer. If 5/6 of this number does not equal this, then it can't be that. What I'm saying here is, first you need to look for possible answers for 120 feet. And you do that just by thinking, all right, what times what will equal 120? And if 120 is hard for you to figure out, then you'll say, what times what is 12, such as 4 times 3, and then you add a 0 to one of the values. Or 6 times 2 is 12, and you could add a 0 to one of the values. Or 12 times 10 is 120. Now, for the second step, you're going to be taking your guesses, and you're going to be checking them with the statement 5/6 of the length will be the width. 5/6 of the bigger number will be the smaller number. So let's try and plugging in 5/6 of 40. If 5/6 of 40 equals 3, this is the correct answer. If 5/6 of 40 does not equal 3, then it cannot be the right answer. So let's try it out. 5/6 of means multiply 40 over 1. And we'll multiply the numerators by the numerators. If you can't do 5 times 40, you could do it on the side. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 4 is 20. 200 over the denominators. 6 times 1 is 6. And then since the numerator is bigger than the denominator, you can put it inside the house. 6 times what number is close to 2 without going over? Nothing. Bring down to 0. 6 times 3 is 18. Minus is 2. Bring down the extra 0. 6 times 3 is again 18. Minus, bring down the 2. And here we'll have a numerator and a denominator. The remainder becomes the numerator and the denominator's outside number, and it stays the same. So, even though I can simplify 2/6, I'm going to stop there because since 3 and 33 do not match up, this cannot be the answer. The answer will not be 40 and 3. Even though 40 times 3 equals 120, 5/6 of the length did not equal the width. So now let's try another number. I'm going to try 12 times 10. 5/6 of the larger number, so the B, bigger number, equals the smaller number. And we got that again from this statement right here. 5/6 the length of the room. 5/6 the length of the room is the width. So the width is 5/6. The width is 5/6 of the length. So let's plug our bigger number and smaller number. Our bigger number is 12, and our smaller one is 10. 12 times 10 equals 120, and we're going to see if 5/6 of 12 is 10. If it is, this is the correct answer. If not, we'll try 60 times 2. 5/6 of means multiply 12 over 1. 5 times 12. If you can't do that in your head, you could do it on the side. 5 times 2 is 10. Regroup. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Oops. So 60 over 6 times 1, denominator times the denominator, is 6. And when the numerator is bigger than the denominator, you can put inside the house. 60 divided by 6. 6 times 1 is 6, minus equals 0. Bring down the 0. 6 times 0 is 0, minus equals 0. You can see it equals 10. Because these two answers are the same, this is the correct answer. 12 times 10. Because think about it. 12 times 10 equals the 120 square feet that we're looking for. And 5/6 of 12 equals 10. 5/6 of 12 equals 10. So if the length is 12, is it feet? Yeah, 12 feet. And the width is 10 feet, then all of these statements are true. 12 times 10 equals 120 feet squared, and 5/6 of 12 is 10. So, I know there's quite a few steps for this one, but think about the first thing we did. Since we knew the area is 120 square feet, we had to make guesses on what the length and width might be. Once we made guesses, we put it into the statement that they told us. 5/6 of the length of the room is the width. So the width is smaller, and the larger number is 5/6 of the larger number equals the smaller one. Now I'm going to show you how to do the next one. Okay, now as we start the second one, we'll be looking at Marisol. Marisol is painting on a piece of canvas that has an area of 180 square inches. The length of the painting is 1 1/4 times the width. What are the dimensions of the painting? So this figure is also going to have a length and a width. And we're going to know that the area is the length times the width. And it says over here that the area is 180 square inches. So the area equals 180 inches squared or square inches. And we have that 2 here to represent the squared inches because it's 2 dimensions. It's a length and a width that you're multiplying together. Now, the length of the painting is 1 1/4 times the width. If the length of the painting is 1 1/4 times the width, then you know that the length is going to be longer. Because whatever the width is, this is more than 1 and then some, that width. So it's whatever the width is plus extra. Whereas in the other example that we did, we were looking at the word of, and of meant, and it was a fraction, less than 1. Since this was a fraction less than 1, the number here was the bigger number, and the number here was smaller. This time, it's going to be 1 1/4 times the width times whatever the width is. The width is going to be the smaller number, and that is going to equal the larger number. Oops, I did the wrong Q there. I want to be consistent with the older one. I'm going to circle the smaller number and square the larger one, just to keep it consistent with glass papers. That's the bigger number. BIG. That's the big number. Now, compare these two. This one, ooh, that's a little blurry, is 5, 6, it's smaller. Of the bigger number gets smaller. Because this number is less than 1, the bigger number goes here, the smaller number goes here. Because this number is bigger than 1, the smaller number goes first, and it will equal the larger number. So, as we start creating our guesses for 180, we're going to start thinking the smaller number is going to go here, and the larger number is going to go here. Now, to get to 180, you could think of how do you get to 18 and add a 0 up there. So you could think about 18 times 10. 18 times 1 is 18, and then add the extra place value to change 18 to 180. You could think 9 times 2 is 18, so 90 times 2 will equal 180. Since 9 times 2 is 18, we could add a 0, and it will be placing the 18 to 180. But I'll also tell you that sometimes numbers like 12 times 15 equals 180 as well, and that one doesn't really follow a 0 pattern. So we're going to try some of these out and plug them into our equation here. Keep in mind that this one is 1 1/4 times the width is the length, so 1 1/4 times the smaller number will equal the larger number. So let's try this one out. If we're trying 1 1/4, the smaller number is 10, and the larger number is 18. 18 times 10 equals 180. That's how we got our guess. And then from there, and 90 times 2 is 180, 12 times 15 is 180. From these, we're going to see which one makes this sentence true. If the sentence is not true here, it's not the one we tried. So we're starting with 18 and 10. 18 and 10. We're going to start by changing this mixed number. This is called a mixed number because it's a whole number and a fraction into an improper fraction. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 5 over 4 times 10. If the answer is 18, this is the correct answer, 18 by 10. If it is not 18, we have the wrong answer. So let's try it. We can multiply the numerators. 5 times 10 is 50 by the denominators. 4 times 1 is 4. And if you don't know 50 divided by 4 offhand, you could try it on the side. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And even though we have a fraction that can be reduced, if I were to say 12 and 2/4, that already does not match 18. And so this cannot be the answer. Because 18 does not equal 12 and 2/4, the answer cannot be 8 times 10. Even though 18 times 10 is 180, 1 and 1/4 times 10 is not 18. So remember, we have to make sure that both statements are true. For purposes of what I want to accomplish, I'm going to try 12 and 15 next. So let's try 1 and 1/4 times the smaller number, which is 12, equals the bigger number, which is 15. Let's see. 4 times 1 plus 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. The denominator stays the same. 12 over 1. If this equals 15, this is the correct answer. 5 times 12, numerator times the numerator. If you don't know offhand, you could do it on the side. 5 times 2 is 10. We group the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. 4 times 1, denominator times the denominator, is 4. If 60 divided by 4 is 15, we found our answer. 4 goes into 6 one time. 4 times 1 is 4. Minus is 2. Bring down the 0. 4 times 5 is 20, with no remainder. So our final answer is 15. Because 15 equals 15, this right here is the correct answer. The length is going to be the larger number, 15, and the width is going to be 12. Let's double check all of that. What's our unit here though? Inches. 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 Now, we know that 12 times 15 equals the 180 inches squared. We also know that 1 and 1/4 times 15, the length, does equal 12, the width. So because all of those factors are correct, we found that our answer is 15 inches by 12 inches. Now, I will tell you that this is quite a difficult lesson. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to give you the answers for numbers 3 and 4. And since you'll have the answers, all you'll have to really do is kind of show the work. So I'm going to go pull up the answers really quick. So hold on a sec. Now, because this lesson requires a lot of guess and check, meaning you're going to have to think, all right, what are the possibilities of the length and width? And then you have to take every single length and width and see which one actually works. What I think I'm going to do for this lesson is I'm going to give you the answers already for 3 and 4. And rather than you trying to have to guess and check, instead you're going to be focusing on proving it. So for number 3, the answer is going to be 6 feet by 24 feet. And the answer for number 4 is going to be 3/10 of a mile by 1.5 miles. So number 3, you should be going for 6 feet by 24 feet. Number 4 should be 3/10 mile by 1.5 miles. The second part, you should be getting 24 feet for number 1 on the back. And for number 2, you should be getting 1/2 mile. So again, on the back side, you should be getting 24 feet for number 1 and 1/2 mile for number 2. Numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6 are more spiral review, so I'm not going to give the answers ahead of time. I'll give that one during class as usual. But my challenge to you is for numbers 3 and 4 on the front side and 1 and 2 on the back side is, since you're provided with the answer already, go back and show your work for each. So make sure that you start with, you already know the answer, so instead, what kind of mathematical sentence are you going to go for? Are you going to go for a fraction less than 1 of the bigger number equals the smaller number? Or are you going to go for 1/4 times the width, 1 and 1/4 times the width of the smaller number equals the bigger number or the larger number? So keep in mind, if the number is of and it's less than 1, you're starting with the bigger number, getting the smaller number. And if the number is larger than 1 and times as much as something, it's the smaller number equaling the bigger number. Keeping all of these in mind, make sure to show your work and justify how to get 6 feet by 24 feet, 3/10 miles by 1.5 miles, and 24 feet and 1/2 mile. Good luck, and review any of the steps to see if you need any further help.